In the 18th century, steam was the lifeblood of a revolution. It powered the factories, the trains, and the industries that shaped the modern world. It was a force of change, a source of endless energy, an unstoppable engine for progress. Fast forward a few centuries, and there's a new kind of steam in town, the kind with a capital S. It doesn't run on coal and water, but on code and servers. Yet its impact, just as revolutionary. This platform didn't just sell games, it fundamentally changed how we buy, play, and even talk about them. It consolidated the global PC gaming market and became an unstoppable engine for countless developers. From its humble beginnings as a way to patch Counter-Strike to becoming $1 billion storefront in nearly every country, this is a story of how Valve built the undisputed king of digital distribution, proving that Steam power isn't just the past, it's also the present, and quite possibly the future.
Dreams and worlds to share, joystick tales and button cues. Welcome to Gaming Views.
Welcome to this week's Gaming Views, where today we're diving deep into the engine room of the greatest success story in PC gaming. I'm your host, Dan H, and with Danny P on his annual release, today I'm joined by someone you may know from his prolific podcast work, whether it's Two Blokes from Blighty, Thanks I Hate It, DLC, Cutscenes, BAP, or Podmas. Yes, today I have the best guest co-host I could ask for. It's the man, the myth, the irascible legend, Joey Fitz of the Game Club Pod. Welcome back, buddy.
How am I meant to live up to an introduction like that? I was going to make a joke and say, if you're watching on video, don't worry, Dan P hasn't let himself go. It's just me. It's just filling in while he's away for another week or so. But no, I'm buzzing to be back. That introduction made me sound probably a lot busier than I actually am, Dan.
I genuinely don't know how you do it, man. Like,
I've got no life, no friends. Don't go out. Just do this. No, but I'm buzzing to be back. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been weird. It's been a weird couple of weeks. There's been like my life now kind of revolves around that pattern of, as you all know, podcasting, right? And I'm doing this on that night, I'm doing that on that night, out the window, and a lot of free time, to be fair, because Dan's not here while the cat's away.
What do you do? I mean, I found out when last time Dan went away, I found out I have a family. Weird.
Yeah, weird. it's like a kid back there, like, and he's grown up for like 2 years old now. I didn't even know.
I haven't seen him in like 6 months. No. But yeah, no, really happy to be back on Gaming Views. Does feel like I'm vying for that co-host spot. Maybe one
it's
day.
A competition all day long, mate. It's fun. If you do well, Dan's out the door.
Really? Okay. I'm not sure what he'll have to say about that, but that's okay. We can live there.
He knows I love him. He did say he was going to contribute in a small way, and he just said, "I love the Steam Deck." That was his contribution.
That's fair, I think. Absolutely fair. And I think we won't get into the Steam Deck loads. I don't think. I think we'll leave it with him. It wouldn't be fair to do it without Dan. So
no, it wouldn't, and we're never unfair to each other.
No, not at all. But it is a massive part of Steam, so I think we'll lightly brush it. But you guys can do your deep dive.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of other hardware we can probably talk about in the show,
especially in light of recent announcements as well.
Particularly in light of recent announcements, yeah. And I do want to cover some of that towards the end because I think it's definitely worth a chat about it because I'm going to be day one all over that. Because
I can imagine.
I've bought several pieces of technology since I've last done this podcast as well, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I haven't told the wife.
Well, let's keep it quiet then. Let's just talk really quietly.
She never watches the podcast. She's like, fucking gaming. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Cool. All right, we will start in our usual lovely place. Oh, actually, no. Before we start, I did want to say to you and the boys, fucking great job on Death Stranding episode. I listened to it today on my dog walk and I fucking loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a surprising one because I hate games that are very, very talky, very wordy, and I know Dan P said like, oh, that's Baldur's Gate, but I feel like you are at least kind of weaving your own narrative into that conversation, whereas Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima games are like 5 minutes of gameplay, 10 minutes of Hideo Kojima movie.
Yeah.
But Death Stranding, there was a moment, and it was literally, I've never had a game like it where I was just playing it thinking, I'm not really enjoying this, and then like, click like that, and I was like, right, I've got to make sure my packages are optimized in the way I'm carrying, not falling down this hill. I'm well into the network, the law, and I said it in the episode, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah. He's a legend anyway, to be
I
fair.
just love everything he's in, and he plays such a cool role in it. If you've not played it, give it like 5 hours.
And I think that's the problem. I started playing, so when it was released, it came on Game Pass, didn't it, for a little while, I think?
Briefly. PC Game Pass, yeah.
Yeah, PC Game Pass. And so I played it on the PC for maybe a couple of hours, and I did bounce off it. Not hard, but I was just, it was, you play something and you'd be like, yeah, I might go back to it. And I never did.
Yeah.
And I got to the bit where he's talking to his sort of mum, the president type thing.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went, oh, I just can't be arsed. I'm just walking around doing not very much. But listening to your episode, God damn you, I literally, after work today, I'm on and I'll talk about this in a bit, but I spun up the PlayStation Portal, and because it's on PlayStation Plus, started playing it, and I was like, I've got to play it now, because they've talked about all these bombastic elements and things, and I'm like, I've got to go and play it now.
It's great. And then the other thing is Troy Baker in it is, oh, God. I said it in the episode. He couldn't have eaten up the scenery more if he tried. And I love the way that it's done.
Good old scenery tour.
Higgs is just fantastic as a villain. He's brilliant. I can't tell you too much, because if I start to explain how insane that game gets, you'll go, that's not a walking simulator. But it honestly is. You have very little to do in that world apart from just drink it all in. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Tim's description on the episode, I was just going, this is fucking nuts. Like, it just sounds insane. And, some of the Metal Gear Solid's got a bit insane a bit later on. But like you, I kind of post-PlayStation 2 era, even Snake Eater I couldn't get on with. And I was like, I'm not really that fussed anymore.
Yeah.
But, 5, I got to start. I started ballooning people out of arenas, and I was just like, whatever, I can't be bothered.
Well, yeah. Once you shoot one person into the atmosphere, you shot 100 people into the atmosphere. So where's the fun in that?
I'm having my fun. And on that note, right, let's get into our usual. What you been playing, Joey?
Right, I've been playing. It's no surprise, Dan. I've been playing Balatro.
Have you?
Of course.
Balatro. You've been playing.
I have been playing. I can't do it yet. Balatro. I'm up to nearly 400 hours in Balatro on Steam alone.
Wow.
I've also got it on my mobile, so every now and then I'll whip it out on the mobile. And it's the only game I have installed on my Nintendo Switch. I never, ever, ever turn the Nintendo Switch on. But if I do, it's only for Balatro. It's a Balatro machine.
That's an expensive Balatro machine.
I got it for nothing.
Oh, did
I got
you?
my Switch for free. So host of BAP, Jacka or Pete. Pete knew I was doing the podcast before they were joined up with us, and he just sent me a message and he went, "Do you want to cover Switch games on the podcast too?" I was like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" He's like, "Here's my address, I'll give you my Switch." I was like, "What?" And he just gave it up like that. I don't use it. Sorry, Pete, but it is good for Balatro. I've also been playing two other games. So one of them is called Mars First Logistics.
Okay. That sounds like a walking simulator.
It's not. It's a delivery simulator.
Okay.
Very much like Death Stranding, except for you play as like a Mars rover.
Yeah.
That is customized every single time. So you get, it's like really menial things you're delivering. So like a kettle or a pot of paint or an umbrella.
Yeah.
But you have to design your robot to be able to lift and place and traverse the land that it's in. But it doesn't sound particularly interesting, but it's like Lego pieces that you build your robot out of, and you have to design all of the moving parts and think about what moves with what and what doesn't move when you move certain things and how you're gripping and lifting to a certain height. It's really interesting, but it's by Outer Sloth. Right. Which is the publisher for same publisher as Among Us.
Yeah.
And they released their kind of indie studio, and it's one of the biggest ones in their indie studio, which is really good. The other one is an old game I'm playing. It's called Pogo Stuck.
Okay.
Pogo Stuck. Have you ever played Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy? That one where you're in a barrel and you're a man with a hammer and you have to try and climb a thing.
He's done baby steps and yeah.
Now, I was going to get baby steps instead of Pogo Stuck.
You should have got it instead of Death Stranding. It sounds like the fucking same thing.
Maybe I'm just into like really long walks. But Pogo Stuck is it's called a Fodian game because they're like rage bait games. Right. And something within my smooth brain said, you want to get really good at this. And I thought, yeah, I want to get really good at this. So Pogo Stuck, you're trying to climb a mountain, but you're on a pogo stick. Right. And in order to jump higher, you have to complete flips before you land again.
Right.
But depending on which angle you're at when you land your pogo stick, you could go up the mountain or you could go fly back 500 meters to the start. But the thing I really like about Pogo Stuck is, whereas in games like Getting Over It, it's just you climbing and doing this thing on your own. Pogo Stuck is like one big server for the whole game. Right. So you just have hundreds of people either stuck next to you or absolutely mastering jumping over these really complex things. But it helps you see, like in bits where I think, I have no idea how I would get over that part of the mountain. It just helps me go, well, that person just jumped there, landed there, and went flying over. Yeah. So it's like it's got that punishing element, but it shows you how to do it as you go along, but through other people doing the action.
or doing it well.
Exactly. And I don't think I'll play it for very long, but I am enjoing playing it while I do. I don't know why.
You said it's not a new game. Is it an older game?
No, it's not new. I've got it. It came out in 2019, Pogo Stuck.
Okay.
So it's like 6 years old.
But
yeah,
I've never been a massive fan of. I've watched loads of stuff about baby steps, and I've just been a bit like cautious of. It feels like one of those things I'll either fucking love and like just get super addicted to, or I'll just end up losing controllers out the window.
I'm not sure which. The latter.
You reckon?
It's designed to be the latter,
right?
But like I said, I don't have much of a life, Dan, so I need something that's going to take up loads of time. So Pogo Stuck and baby steps. And maybe I'll make another show. It's yeah. How about you? What have you been playing?
So I've obviously got the ROG Ally, and I've been trying to spend a lot of time on that, and I've done a bit of a dock setup downstairs as well. I bought myself an 8-bit Dude controller so I could, and I had fun trying to set that thing up because it was a nightmare, but I managed to sort it out. Basically the Bluetooth input didn't want to work with the ROG. Really? So it connects and it goes, yeah, you've got an 8-bit Dude controller and they're fine. And then as soon as you try and move anything, doesn't do no response whatsoever. So you have to use the 2.4 gigahertz and you have to connect the dock to the ROG while it's docked. But yeah, fuck it works.
Works now.
It works now. So on that, I've been trying to play as much as possible and get some value out of it as well. But I found myself keep going back to lots of roguelikes, weirdly. So I talked before with Dan about playing Absalom.
Okay.
And I rinsed Absalom, and I beat Absalom with 3 of the 5 characters to the point where, so when you beat the first game on the way round, you fight the main boss, beat him, and that opens up the same world again. So you go back and repeat again, but there's another boss after him called, weirdly, Absalom. And the point is to try and defeat Absalom. And what was ironic, I went through with 2 of the characters and finished the main boss on 2 separate runs. And then I went back to one of the runs I'd started already and went back and with another character, first time using her, and just went the whole way through and killed him. And I was like, it's one of those roguelikes where it's not easy, but there is progression, a bit like Hades. There's progression. When you die, you get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And I don't know the number of runs I've done. But I've pretty much done all the side quests. I've seen credits. And it's a really good game. It's just like Golden Axe on steroids, and you kind of, you're wandering around, you're opening up paths, and you're doing different things. There's little side quests that people open up, and I just had a lot of fun with it. And I've said before on this podcast, I fucking hate roguelikes, but I don't. And Dan keeps saying it's only one word away from Souls-like, and I'm like,
wow,
maybe
we could do the episode I was on before again if you want. I don't mind doing that, but I think if you're looking for Souls-like in a roguelike, you're Not
yeah,
quite
and that's the
there.
thing. I think roguelikes, because there's that element of progression, I think that's the thing. For me, Souls-like always felt like, you just get beaten up over and over again. And I'm not getting... Because in the roguelikes I've been playing, and we'll get to Hades 2 in a minute, there is that, understanding and knowledge of boss fight patterns and things like that. Because, generally, other than the bosses, and a couple of armoured enemies in Hades 2, and a couple of mini-bosses, nothing's really going to hurt you that much. You only really get punished at the boss stages, and that's...
Well, the thing I like about roguelikes and Souls-likes, they are games that, one, challenge you. I really can't be bothered with a game that holds your hand too much.
Yeah.
But also, I love that they teach you that failure is okay. Like, in roguelikes, from what it sounds like, Hades, never played it, really should do.
So good.
It sounds like, rather than punishing you for death, you're actually like, it's okay, you learnt something, take that into the next one, and it gently encourages you with that. So I think that's what a good roguelike does. Balatro does that. When you unlock jokers and you do different runs on that, it makes your run easier for next time and opens up new ways of playing, and a good roguelike should do that. So
and that's exactly what they do. And so the other game I've been playing a lot of on the ROG is Hades 2. So I bought it a week ago, I think now. I kind of got to the point where I've been playing quite a bit on various things. I'd finished, I'd finished Absalom, and I was kind of like, I fancy something else, because I'd been playing a hell of a lot of Outer Worlds 2, and I'll talk about that in a minute as well. So, and I was kind of Outer Worlds 2'd out, and I was like, right, I've got about 30, 40 hours into that, and I want to do something different. So I went and bought Hades 2, and it's so good. I mean, I've forgotten how good Hades was until I played Hades 2, because Hades is a fantastic game, and that again was a game I kind of rinsed and got all the way through, finished the final boss, and kind of went, oh, God, I feel like I've done it all. I probably hadn't. There was probably a bunch of other stuff like you unlock after that, and I think there is, and I hadn't done that. So picking up Hades 2, which plays in a very different way, you play a very different character to the original, and you play this character called Mel, who's a witch. So she has a different way of dealing damage. She has casts that she can put in a pool around her that increase damage to enemies. She has hexes that are kind of superpowers you can get off of one of the people you meet. And then, you've got multiple weapons that you can select from, whether it's an axe or daggers or a staff, or, so every run can be completely different. And you're always unlocking and always progressing, and there's this kind of scroll of things that are being foretold. So, it kind of gives you hints to things you do, but when you get them, they unlock other stuff. And then there's a cauldron, you can unlock incantations, which build your buff. But much the same way as I did with Hades, I played it for a little while and found it incredibly hard. And then there's a mode called God mode on both of them. And what it does is every time you die, in Hades, I think you got 1% damage reduction each time you died. Right. And I think on Hades 2, it's 2% damage reduction. So each time you die, you'll start at 10% damage reduction, you'll get to 12, 14. So you're getting a little bit tougher each time naturally, but then as you do the rest of the stuff around that, I mean, had I been bothered to, really dig into it, I probably wouldn't have needed it, but now it's there. I'm just, but it's great for that, and I love that about it. But it's just such an intricately woven story. The characters are all brilliant. The voice acting is fantastic. It's very it's a lovely presentation in the package as well. And if you're gonna, have a go at one, and it was on sale on Steam, I think it was like 20 quid, and it was just an absolute bargain for that. So yeah,
very, very recent game to be discounted.
Yeah, like that. I think it was one of those. Steam offers. You get an individual offer, don't you, on certain things? I think it might have been one of those. I can't remember, but I was in there. I'd bought a bunch of stuff off Fanatical, and I was just like, I was in there, and and then I was like, oh, Hades is on off. So
there is sorry if you've got one more. There is one more game that has been released very recently that I've been playing that I'm really keen to talk to you about, Dan. It's a game I don't think you're that bothered about, but there is conversation here. Football Manager 26.
Oh, so you need the other Dan. You're mistaking me for somebody who gives a shit. No.
There's a reason for this. So if you remember, last time I was on this podcast, I revealed that I had spent
far too much time.
About a year and a quarter of my life in Football Manager.
You had.
Football Manager 26 It's bad, Dan. It's
Is
so
it?
bad.
Is it really
I
bad?
put 4 hours into it and I don't think I'm going back.
What is it? 'Cause having never played or cared about any of that, what is it that makes it bad?
So there's a couple of things. So they can Football Manager 25. It's usually a yearly release. They can 25 because they said, look, we're working on this brand new engine to completely overhaul the game.
Right.
We're going to introduce all this really interesting stuff. And in its current state, if we release 25, you're not getting the full product. So they said, like, rightly so. I think it's a fair thing in a yearly release. We're going to sit back for a year. With a big dedicated fan base like Football Manager, you would expect when 26 comes along, they go, oh my God, they've changed so much. Someone that I follow on social media, big Football Manager YouTuber, counted and they had removed 157 features of Football Manager 24.
Wow.
And
That's a
added
lot.
6 new things.
That ain't a right ratio.
Now, the new things are big. So they're things like they've introduced women's football to it, which, fair enough. I think it's pretty good that it's in the game. But by doing that, they've removed international management. So you can't manage a country anymore, which was huge.
But that's not a trade-off, right? Surely you could get... you could have both.
You should be able to have both. All of the players for the international stuff are in there anyway because they play in the leagues.
Yeah.
You also, now, there used to be a thing when you were in the game, you could influence the way your players were playing by doing a thing called touchline shout. So I could say, look, my striker, drop back, be more aggressive, whatever you have, to adapt to the game that they're in. And they've taken that out completely. So if you were trying to do this as a simulation and play like a football manager, it's like me being a football manager and then sitting on the sidelines with my hands in my pockets, completely silent for the entire 90 minutes of the game. On top of that, the UI is poor. It's like there's just dead space everywhere. It's just not optimized at all. It runs really poorly. And my favourite part of it, the bit where I felt like it was quite insulting, Football Manager always do a monthly beta before. So if you pre-order the game, you get automatic access to the beta. They take in loads of feedback.
Yeah.
Day one, big patch based on all the feedback. You get into the game, you've had all that feedback from your live player base. Because of the contract that they've signed with Microsoft and Sony,
right,
Sports Interactive apparently couldn't complete updates based on the feedback from the beta for another 2 days until its full release. And that sounds like nothing, but we got a patch on day one.
Yeah.
So it released, and the patch, in the patch notes, said removed beta logo from menu splash screen. That was the whole thing. The difference between the beta and the full game was that they removed the word beta and there was nothing else. Now, I think they're making like very small iterative changes as it goes. But it's one of those where I think if I delivered something that was that poorly received amongst the customer base I work with, I'd lose my job.
Yeah.
Genuinely lose my job. And I think I really enjoyed your guys' episode on Game Pass and Microsoft and the way they're handling it or not handling it very well. And Football Manager is a big reason I keep Game Pass. And now I'm genuinely thinking, maybe I'll just get rid of it.
I mean, it is the greatest RPG ever. I mean, was. It was the greatest
RPG ever.
Is it one of those things you kind of go, do you know what? If I could, I'd get my money. Well, maybe you can. Maybe it's on Steam. Maybe get your money back.
Yeah, well, they were offering refunds. Like when Cyberpunk released and CD Projekt Red said, just put in a thing and we'll just refund it.
Yeah.
Football Manager's basically done the same thing.
And is that feedback been consistent across kind of the core group of gamers? Yeah,
I feel like what they did was they are catering much more to a brand new user in the console market than they are the core users. So if you look at my Steam library, I have every single Football Manager from 2009 through to 2021 when it released on Game Pass. So those people, I feel like, will not be playing 2026 often, if at all. And I say this, but, like any addict does, I'll be lighting up my Football Manager 2026 in a dark corner sometime. But
I guess you can't go back to 24 because it's not the current season. You can't.
Well, Epic Game Store released it as a free thing about 2 months ago.
Right.
Because they knew that it was going off of Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I've got it 2024 in my library on Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
But so if I wanted to, I could go back to it via that. But it's one of those things where you're not playing the latest thing. It feels like you're missing out. But actually, in not playing the latest thing, you're getting much more than you did before.
Yeah, which might be a trade-off. But at least you get your hit.
Maybe I'll get my hit. I've got Balatro for my hit. I don't need a Football Manager hit anymore.
How many do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
Outer Worlds 2. Let's talk a little bit about Outer Worlds 2. Have you played Outer Worlds?
I played the first one. I have got the second one installed.
Okay.
I hated the first one.
Did you? Too talky?
I did.
You're going to hate the second one.
It was very talky. What it felt like was Fallout Light.
In what way? What's the?
So I think Fallout was great because you had your branching story, as the Outer Worlds does, and you felt like you were in control of it, which the Outer Worlds does. But I felt like everything you did in Fallout, in basically everyone I've played, you go to this place, you do this thing for this person, and that has a consequence. Yes. Whereas the Outer Worlds, to me, felt like you talk to someone, you do the thing that they want you to do, they go, all right, well, there's that person over there, and then you go and talk to them, and then you do that. And there didn't seem to be a payoff for anything. The world was interesting, but I didn't think the story was.
Okay. So you probably won't like it because the story isn't super interesting. I mean, it's okay, but it's kind of, you don't get lost in it. It's just like it's kind of happening. Mm-hmm. But I think you will appreciate so where you talked about the Outer Worlds and how the consequences of your actions just felt like another go and talk to another person or do another thing. I think the consequences of this one branch a lot better and actually work a lot better in terms of, the things that you do and the choices that you can make and the impact that those things have. Certainly from my playthrough that I played. And like I said, I've probably put about 35, 40 hours into it. I haven't checked. But I know that 2 weeks ago, or I think about 4 days after launch, I'd put a day and a half in on it already over a weekend. So I'd really kind of gone to town on it, and I'd played it quite a bit since then as well. So I've opened up what I think is towards the final run now. The main protagonist, the main antagonist, I've convinced not to be an arsehole type thing. Or you can just kill them, or you can get them to destroy the universe or whatever, But I've gone down the kind of really nice route. But I am planning on playing I read an article someone had written, I can't remember, it was on Polygon or something like that, about how it had convinced them to become a supervillain. And I was like, that sounds quite interesting. Maybe I'll just do that. Because there are some consequences that you can literally, wipe populations out. And I'm thinking maybe I'll just do that and become the world's greatest supervillain.
That sounds like a bit of me, that does.
Yeah.
I've got a question about the Outer Worlds. How do they made a really big thing in the marketing about these buffs and debuffs.
Yes. So the flaws.
The flaws, is that what they're called in the game?
Yeah, you get perks and flaws.
The one I loved, there was two that they really pushed, but the creaky knees flaw,
which I've had,
so funny.
So I started the game and I played through to a certain point, and I accepted, because you can accept or just ignore them. You don't have to have them. You can kind of choose not to. I don't know if there might be a setting that says you naturally pick them up and you can't do anything about it, because there's no opportunity to respec, so you're literally stuck with your build, whatever you choose. So I got to a point in the game quite early on the first planet, I think, where, and I must have played for about, 10 hours or so, but I got to a point where I'd accepted a flaw that was essentially a bit of a game changer. So quite literally, because what it meant was you couldn't level up. It was like a jack of all trades flaw, where it meant that you'd spread your points throughout stuff, but anything you'd leveled up over 2 skill points, you couldn't ever level up again. So then you're wandering around going, well, I can hack that safe or I can, lockpick that safe, and the lockpick you needed 5. Well, I can never
Yeah.
get to 5, so I can never open it. And so I'd basically broken my build, and I was like,
Right.
can I find a load of saving where that hasn't happened? And I managed to find one. I lost about 5 hours of gameplay, to be fair, but I kind of knew the beats and I replayed them and I was okay with it. But I did get creaky knees, which is quite funny because you move faster and are much less observant in stealth. But whenever you stand up or kneel down, a massive crack occurs and in your knees, and everyone can hear it in like a 200-yard radius or something.
Yeah.
And I experienced that because I had the perk or the floor, and I was in an enemy base. And I was like, oh, just creep past these people because like it's one of these. It's like the first proper end level thing on the first world.
Okay.
And I just went, just stealth through it. And I knelt down and suddenly everything just went, fucking kill him. And I was like, fuck. And then, damn it.
That's great. I feel like the Outer Worlds, the consequence free as I felt it was, I didn't think it brought that much new to the table.
Yeah.
But they really do. Like
they've gone sound on this one. It's quite funny.
Floors are so funny.
Kleptomania is quite good as well.
Yeah, where you look at, like, you're really good at stealing things, but then there's a 1 in like 10 chance just by looking at something you'll steal it.
You get much better. So vendors will give you more money for stolen items and things like that, but then every so often you'll just nick something. And the problem is there's the consequences of stealing things in front of people. It's not like basically your level with that group, that faction, and there are 5 or 6 different factions, or 4 or 5 different factions, that your level will drop depending on what you steal and how often you steal it, or what you do if you kill someone in front of them. And then you get a bounty on your head, and you can basically go and either pay off the bounty or you can just choose to kill them all, whichever you choose to. So there's little consequences like that throughout it. But the floors are brilliant. There's and there's certain. What's interesting about the floors is there's certain additional skills that you can't unlock without having a certain floor. So if you've got like psychopath, you can unlock a certain part of the skill tree, or not skill tree, but the selection thing, and vice versa. So if you've got a certain thing, you can unlock another thing. I just think it's a beautifully put together game. It does feel a lot more in the Fallout New Vegas mold, which I really enjoyed. I think the setting is stunning. They've put a lot of thought and effort into it, and one of the factions is these people who basically their whole principle and theory of life is based on maths. So they believe they can predict the future through mathematics, and it's kind of this whole thing. So, and just I think a lot of it's really wonderfully thought out. The enemy encounters are a bit meh. They're okay. And when you get it's got this really weird curve where you start off with very little ammo but slightly OP, so you can kind of kill stuff quite easily, and then suddenly, or maybe it was just me, you hit this kind of wall where you've got tons of ammo but your guns, everything's a bullet sponge, and then you start coming out the other side of it, and then it's like you find plasma weapons and things like that. What I haven't found yet is kind of some of the science orientated weapons where you can shrink people and things like that, which I was quite looking forward to. I'm like, I haven't seen any of them yet. So,
but you're close to the end of the game.
Well, it feels like it. Maybe I'm about 2/3 through, so maybe something will pop up. Or I don't know. It just feels it would be a waste if they were that much fun and they've left until that late. Or maybe I've just missed something because I haven't done certain things. I don't know. But I'm really enjoying that. And then I also played a bit more of Pacific Drive, which I think you'd like if you haven't played it.
I've got it. I've never played it.
You should. Honestly, it's just a brilliant game. It's just so well put together, and it's so odd and weird, and I quite like the wacky of it. So. Yeah, there's one more game that I know you've been playing that I want to ask you about. It's on my wish lists, and I keep thinking I'll buy it, but I need someone who's played it to tell me it's great. And that's Megabonk. Oh, I have been playing a lot of Megabonk. Oh yeah. You see me on Steam, I suspect. But I have played a lot of Megabonk. That was another one of those games that you pick up and go, I just have one more go. And then you look around and it's 5 hours later and you're like, I had about 20 other goes. And I've unlocked a bunch of the characters. I mean, it's that progression thing. It's that roguelike thing again. What's it like? It's like Vampire Survivors. Okay. It's almost exactly like, but in 3D, and you can jump, and the terrain is 3D, and you start off. I think there's only 2 levels. That's the weird thing. There's they're tiered. So you get tier 1, 2, and 3 of each level, and there's a woodlands. And you get the woodlands, the deeper woodlands, and the deepest woodlands, I think they're called. And then you get a desert. And the idea is you wander around, you start off with a pew-pew, and you pick up weapons and upgrades and things based on the number of experience points you get from killing monsters. And then the idea in each world or each land is to find the boss portal.
Okay.
Spawn the boss, defeat the boss, then jump through the portal to the next tier. And as you do these things, you get more and more progression. And as you achieve certain things like quests, you can unlock other things, like whether it's characters or there's characters, there's weapons, there's scrolls, there's like ultimate ability type things as well. It's a whole heap of. It's one of those things that feels like it's coded by a bedroom programmer, but done beautifully well.
Well, I remember the marketing campaign for Megabonk, and the whole thing was, I am the developer who decided to release his game on the same day that Silksong comes out.
Right.
And he was like, I could have moved it. I'm an idiot for not moving it. No one's going to buy my game, but here's Megabonk. I hope you enjoy it. And then on day one, same day as Silksong came out, it had 100,000 concurrent players.
Yeah.
Because it just looked like it was a passion project.
And I think it's exactly what it is. And you should definitely, well, it depends how much free time you got, to be honest, Joe. Because
I'll stop playing my stupid pogo stick game and start playing Megabonk instead.
There have been a couple of evenings where the wife's turned around to me. The girls have gone up to bed, and or they've been sitting watching telly before going to bed, and the wife's gone to me, do you want to watch something tonight? I'm like, yeah. We'll take the girls upstairs and put them to bed, and I've been playing, and I was like, I just finished this, and then like Karen playing, and then she's like, oh, I'm going up to bed. Like, you're engrossed. There's no point in us, like, because I've just been that, what? Yeah, okay, yeah, no problem. And I just, like, then it's been, a couple of evenings I can remember where it's been like that. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it. And again, I played it on the ROG as well. Okay. So, and then the final thing, I was just very quickly, because I realised we're 40 minutes in already and we're not going to talk about anything. I did pick up a PlayStation Portal recently, which I vowed I would never do, and then realised I don't get much use out of my PS5, but mainly because it's in my office, it's next to me now. And then they released the update that allowed you to do cloud gaming, stream cloud gaming through the PS Plus subscription, and it was kind of a bit of a game changer. And I found one for 150 quid, and I was like, I think it's worth. And do you know what? It's a beautiful bit of kit. I love it.
Well, when it released, it would only work if you were in the same. Is it the same?
Same Wi-Fi?
Internet?
Not anymore. You can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you
but
can
that's
use it.
that. Like, to me, it was like a big PlayStation 5 shaped doorstop. It didn't make a lot of sense. But from what you're saying, sounds like a good handheld. It sounds.
I love it. The screen's beautiful. I mean, the DualSense controllers work exactly as the PlayStation 5 one does in terms of the haptics and feedback and everything. And then I spent a couple of hours the other night just playing around on Bring Us to the Moon, which I'd never played before, and thought I'd cloud stream it. And that again is a lovely little puzzler, kind of 2D, the third person, first person kind of alternates between. I don't know if you played it, but I'm really enjoying that as well. So I picked that up, and then goddamn, I'm going to have to start playing Death Stranding now as well. Right? So
you need at least 4 or 5 hours before that'll feel good. At least.
Right, we've been going for ages, Joey. I do apologise. I feel like I've done.
Don't apologise.
So much talking. Right, let's run very quickly through some very quick news. So we'll start with, and there's only literally a couple of here. We had a state of play recently from Sony. I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure you were interested in it for a specific reason.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Okay. So I think the two biggest things out there was a Dragon Quest 7.
I did see it. I know what the news is.
Yeah, I thought you might do. I did wonder when the penny was going to drop. There was a Dragon Quest 7 release, which, don't care. And then Elden Ring Night Rain.
Yeah.
The Forsaken Hollows.
Yep.
You're a big Night Rain fan, right?
I am. I'm an even bigger Dark Souls fan. And this will mean nothing to you if you've not played it. But Tim, my brother and co-host, and I watched it together. He was into all like the fighting game things. That's what he wanted to watch it for. Yeah. But he likes Dark Souls as well, and he really likes Night Rain. And it came on, and I was like, "Oh, this is Night Rain." And then the boss Artorias, who is like the big iconic boss from Dark Souls 1. He's like the knight that everyone talks about the whole game. Artorias was you before you came in.
Right.
And he popped up as like one of the overworld bosses. And Tim and I went, fucking hell, that's Artorias. Like genuine excitement. It was a bit like, you know, those memes of when WWE, oh my God, that's someone's music, they're coming. That was like, oh my God, Artorias. And then at the end of it, there was this really wide shot that was obscured by these trees. And Tim went, hold on, pause that. And he paused it. And we spent ages trying to work out who it was. And we think it's the final boss of the DLC from Bloodborne,
Right.
the Orphan of Kos. And if it's that, then, you know, this DLC's £13. Night Rain was never a full price game. But if you get Orphan of Kos and Artorias in one DLC, fucking hell, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be amazing. And I spoke to the boys about it yesterday, and when we told Alex, he was like, right, when we're going back to Night Rain, then he didn't even want to wait for the DLC. That was
just spin it up already. I did listen to your episode on Night Rain. It was very good.
Good.
Because I'm not a fan of that sort of stuff, but I did enjoy your episode on it.
I think you'd like it. It's more roguelike than it is Souls-like.
Yeah, that's what got me from that episode. I was like, oh, maybe, because it's not. Because you made the point that it very much wasn't Elden Ring, and it very much wasn't Dark Souls. It was, I
actually said it was Balatro.
Yes, you did. But everything is, right? There's nothing that isn't Balatro.
Yeah. Everything is. So next week I'll be listening to you. What have you been playing? And you'll say, I've just been playing Elden Ring and Death Stranding.
It's happened before.
But yeah.
So that was, there was a bunch of other stuff. It was all very Japanese focused. I won't go into it now because we are so going to run out of time. The other news is obviously with the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 7, BLOP 7, has not received the best reception for a number of reasons. One being the campaign. You can't pause it and go for a wee or have a cup of tea because it's all online all the time. So the campaign is co-op completely, which feels like a weird about face, but okay, whatever you want to do. And then also some murky AI bits and pieces of some of the rewards you earn throughout the campaign. So which people aren't happy about.
Have you played it?
I have not. I have installed it. And I'm going to wait for Mr. P to get back to maybe have a go at the campaign in co-op.
Let me know when you do, because if it's more than 2-player, we can do it together.
It's 4, I think. Fun. Yeah, I think it's 4.
I've played some of the multiplayer.
Okay.
I think the AI generation stuff is, it's important to make sure that artists are properly represented and not pushed out through AI. It's been quite overblown. It's a couple of the calling cards, as far as I understand. I don't know what you've seen of the campaign. It doesn't look particularly good, but it's still worth playing because it's Call of Duty.
I enjoyed 6. I quite liked some of the psycho, with the psychotropic drug stuff, and it was quite good. But I haven't paid much attention to it, to be honest.
But when someone said to me I was the worst worst Call of Duty I've ever played, I was like, you've got very short memory. It's not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly not the worst.
Well, interestingly, because I refused to play it on my own when I read that. I read it in an article on Saturday because I was all kind of geared up to have a go on Saturday when everyone went out. Mm-hmm. I decided to spin up the most recent Modern Warfare 2 and played pretty much through the entire campaign on Saturday and really enjoyed it because I've not played that one before.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's so good, and I so enjoyed the sniper mission, which isn't the Chernobyl one, but it is. It's very reminiscent. Yeah. I had a great fun on that.
Hey, there's a whole episode for you in Call of Duty.
I used to be a massive fan. I used to love Call of Duty. I used to buy it religiously, play it multiplayer religiously, and then I just went off it and just went, it's a pile of shit now. But maybe it's not. Who knows?
Well, but this is the first one that's full release announcement to release since Microsoft acquired it.
Which might explain a lot. Especially with its introduction of AI, with how hard Microsoft pushes AI. So get rid of a load of people and just replace it with AI. I think a lot of that AI piece, though, has bounced off the fact that Arc Raiders hit hard on the AI piece. And if you read Eurogamer's review of Arc Raiders, which I was quite keen on because it sounded quite good from a roguelike perspective, again, it kind of seemed to hit those familiar beats. Mm-hmm. Eurogamer heaped praise upon it, like, you know, you wouldn't believe in this article. And then just because of this, I say just because, but because of this AI piece, and you're absolutely right, artists need to be represented appropriately, but because of this AI piece, they give it a 2 out of 5. And it was like,
I played the playtest for Arc Raiders. It was really, really fun. I'm waiting for it to go on sale. When it does, I'll definitely pick it up. It's like a very accessible version of a game I played a few times called Escape from Tarkov, which I don't know if you've ever seen.
I've seen Tarkov and I've seen Duck Off as well, which is...
Well, yeah, Duck Off is a duck version of Tarkov. Tarkov is... Like, I love Souls-like games. Tarkov is way too punishing for me.
Oh, really?
Way too punishing.
Maybe Duck Off then.
Maybe Duck Off. Or Arc Raiders.
Or Arc Raiders.
Yeah, Arc Raiders
I've heard
really
lots
fun.
of good things about
really
it, and it was just that literally that one bit around the AI has let it down, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, next piece of news. Everyone will be familiar with this. GTA 6, yet another delay. But honestly, it is definitely going to happen this time. It's going to be launched in November next year. I promise, says the CEO and whatever his name is. Yeah, whatever. I believe when I see it.
I'm also never going to play it because I'm never going to own a piece of kit that runs it. It's going to melt anything I have in my house to even try and run it.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it does look beautiful from the trailers, but I've said it before. You know, I enjoyed GTA when I played them, and I've played them since the very first top-down Inception. You know, where you murdered Harry Krishnas and weird stuff like that. But
that's not why you enjoyed it.
That's not. No. Sorry. Stipulate. That's not why I enjoyed it. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that was a part of the game, if you chose to, I guess. Not that I did.
Of course.
But I think ever since Nico, I kind of lost. Again, you know, I played it, but it was like, and I fell into trap. I bought 5, you know, and we've just done an episode on which releases tomorrow, Tuesday, on the Xbox 360. And I couldn't believe GTA 5 was on the 360. And I'm like, that can't be right. It can't. Yeah. It can't. It just... I don't know if it's an age thing or what. I'll just tell you this briefly. My daughter sat there in the car on the way to football last week, and she said to me, Dad, were you in the war? Right? And I went... Because they're doing Second World War in history. And I was like... No, of course I wasn't in the war. I was born in 1976. I was born, and I did this thing where I did this calculation, and in my brain I'm going, I was born 31 years after the war ended, and I went, 31 years? It can't have only been 31 years since the war.
Mad, isn't it?
And my brain was really having a conniption, and I think I might have been, you know, my nose started bleeding. I was like, it can't have been 31 years only since the war ended. And it was. And I'm in this place where numbers mean nothing.
But we have a thing. So my son is in his first year of school, but in his last year of nursery, around Remembrance Day, they were like, it's time to invite all of the grandparents to the Remembrance Day thing. I told my mum, I called her and I was like, you've been invited to a Remembrance Day thing where they're going to sit you down with a cup of tea and talk about the war. And she was like, my mum was born during the war. Like, why is this like... I think people have this idea of when the war is, and then that's it. There's an age cap of when that is. So, I've never thought of you as being in the war, Dan.
No, but my daughter genuinely asked that question. I'm like, I don't understand. Does she not know numbers? She's really good at maths as well, which is worrying. But yeah, so when it was like, oh yeah, GTA 5 was on the 360, I'm like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
Those numbers don't work, but apparently it's so. So yeah, GTA, well, you know, maybe I'll be dead by the time 6 is released at this rate.
We all will.
My kids will be playing it. GTA 6 was good, Dad. They're sitting by my grave telling me.
On the rug though, so it's portable.
Yeah, potentially, or whatever the sequel, prequel, sequel to that is. So yeah, Rockstar delaying GTA 6 release, potentially because they're far too busy allegedly union busting, which was another piece of news that came out. So a number of 200 current employees signed a petition demanding the reinstatement of a number of employees who have been let go from the company. Allegedly for divulging secrets, Rockstar secrets, on a forum, which as yet is unfounded, so hasn't been proved. But there are several rumours that this is actually due to union busting, so attempting to break up the potential forming of a union which, look, anyone should do if they can, because, workers' rights are supremely important. And, if there is something going on there, it fucking sucks, to be honest.
Yeah. But the problem is game development is such a competitive space that Rockstar can fire those people and find people that don't seem to have much of interest in a union until they find their jobs at risk, and it'll just be an endless cycle.
100%. And, if they get away with it, like you said, it'll just continue, so it just sucks.
Yeah.
The last piece of news, yeah. The last piece of news is today, of all days, we had the nominees for Game of the Year.
Yep.
Which is quite exciting.
It is exciting.
It is exciting. Dan's going to be super excited. So
yes, he is.
He's going to be very excited. I know what he's voting for. So I've played precisely 3 of these. So I've got 6. Have you got? I've got 6. 6.
Are you looking at the best?
I think it was
best game.
I think it was best game was 6 I had.
Yeah, there's 6 of them.
Yeah. So Dan will be very excited because Clara Obscure is in there.
Yep.
Potentially. And it was interesting. I was also reading an article that Clara Obscure is also up for another bunch of awards this year for best indie game. Mm-hmm. And people are going, not sure it's an indie game. And it's in all these, and it's probably going to win all of these. So does it truly? So, and I played precisely 30 minutes of it, so I'm not, I can't really comment.
Did it not grip you?
I don't like the whole JRPG combat system. I don't like turn-based combat, if I'm honest. And I'm like,
okay.
I just couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't go on with it. The little overmap thing and the running around. And when I couldn't find my way out of the underground world after I found the mansion, I just gave up because I ran back out the other way and I was like, where am I supposed to go? And they're like, and it kept pointing to the door, and I was like, well, I've just been there.
You got no chance of playing Death Stranding for more than 25 minutes if that's how you.
I will let you know.
I'm very glad it's there. So we recorded in a Gaming Views exclusive. During the month of December, Game Club Pod goes against our better judgment, and we release an episode a day. So we're doing 31 episodes.
This is Podmas, right? This is what you guys do.
Podmas. We have a hip hop jingle for Podmas this year, which is definitely not AI generated. Please don't cancel us. And we did our Game Awards predictions episode this weekend. And Clair Obscur, for me, rocked everything. It got
really
absolutely everything. So we obviously had to guess. We didn't know what was up for nomination. 2025 was a really good year for games.
Oh, it's been incredible, and it's still going. It's just.
But my prediction was that Clair Obscur wouldn't even make it to the shortlist for best game, and that's because the Game Awards works often in a real recency bias. So I was so pleased that this game that released in January has got so many nominations, because I can't remember the last time a video game made me cry, because Clair Obscur did twice.
Last of Us 2.
Twice.
For me. Last of Us, but not because they've done so many remakes. Well, that is a reason to cry about it.
God, I've got to buy another one.
It's the bit that happens at the beginning before the game kicks in.
Yeah.
That was the...
I get that. Yeah. The TV show, not the game for me.
No. A TV show I loved,
really?
But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Bill and Frank. The one bit that's not in the game.
Superb. But
cinema.
There's very little on TVs, movies, or anything like that ever makes me well up. My wife, sobbing all day long, genuinely. Okay. But me, it never hits me in the feels that way. But a video game that can do it, yeah.
Maybe it's your involvement in it.
Maybe it is. Maybe. To get off my phone. Is that what you're saying?
The ROG now, that's what it is.
Okay. Stop playing the ROG or your Portal, Dan. Like, how many hands have you got, for fuck's sake?
Yeah. No, Clair Obscur, I'm really glad it's in there. But best game, Dan, we've got Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which I want to play. Looks really good. Not on PC yet. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Which are the 3 that you've played?
So I played Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Mm-hmm.
I clearly played Hades 2 because I've just spent half an hour talking about it. And Hollow Knight Silk Song for about 10 minutes because I don't like dying, basically.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But Hades is okay.
Because you're not. What's weird about Hades as well is, well, Hades 2. Well, no, both of them actually. You don't actually die. Like when you lose all your health, she just goes return to something or other, and you just kind of magically zap back. So you're like, in my head, I haven't died. Nothing killed me. I've just gone back for a cuppa. It's fine.
Okay, good. And what would be your vote for win out of the 3 that you've played?
Hades 2 all day long.
Oh, really?
There's not even a question about it. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I played for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and when this is all very the same. It's a bit like Mario. I'm playing Mario as Donkey Kong, and I don't mind 3D Mario games. I used to love them, like the N64 and stuff like that, but they all became a bit much of a muchness, and they've all homogenized into this, media empire movie thing with Chris Pratt doing a voice, and I'm like, once you let go of the guy who did it before, I'm like, nah. When
you guys spoke about Bob Hoskins' Mario, you really didn't ham up how New Jersey his accent is.
Oh my God, the whole fucking movie. Jesus Christ. Let's not go there.
And that's your bit on the Game Awards, people.
Yeah, that's the game. I didn't see the rest of the nominees. I literally saw the kind of game of the year. The one other little piece of news that just sprung to mind, because it's relevant to the episode if we even get there. There's been so many rumours about Half-Life X or Half-Life 3 being announced imminently, that it's just got to fever pitch where a number of the people, like Gabe Follower and people like this on YouTube, have basically just gone, set your expectations at 0 and you won't be disappointed. They really try. Look, talk about it all you want, but and have fun. But really, it's getting a bit silly out there. Which is it's just a weird thing to. It feels odd. Look, I would. I follow his Half-Life 3 out on Twitter, X, whatever it's called now, right? And I could, just because I think it's funny. But it was a joke that didn't last very long. But and my love and passion for Half-Life, so I would be overjoyed if it was announced. I just don't know, Joey. If it does, it's going to be a launch title with the Steam Machine, I think.
Well, they always do a big Valve game for one of their things, and we will talk about the Steam Machine.
We will,
but yeah, it's it could be. It was Alex for the Steam Frame, or the Vive, or whatever they called it at the time.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be it's definitely going to be an interesting opening salvo for 26. We will get to that. So while we're there, if you're still up for it, shall we have a chat about Steam?
Let's do it.
Good. All right. So Steam, the gaming platform, the distribution platform, the digital distribution platform, whatever you want to call it, however you want to phrase it. Look, every good hero needs a great origin story that involves some sort of accident, and Steam's is no different. It's a cracker, right? Steam was invented pretty much by accident, right? It was designed as a patching platform, a distribution for some of the problems and issues that the guys over at Valve were having in patching some of their games like Counter-Strike and some of the other multiplayer games, and were really struggling to find a way to distribute those patches in a very sensible way. So they built a platform that ended up turning into a gaming colossus. I mean, it's insane how it happened, right?
Yeah. It is. It's mad. But before it was called Steam, do you know the 2 names that they played with before they called it Steam?
Grid and Gazelle. Those 2.
Grid and Gazelle.
Yeah. I mean, and again, they've got an alter ego. I mean, they're hitting all the superhero beats.
They are. But can you imagine Dan P having a great time on his Gazelle deck? It doesn't ring the same, does it?
Gazelle deck would have been great. Grid deck I could probably get along with, but a Gazelle deck is just a step too far.
Terrible names. I'm glad they rebranded it as Steam. But that was 2022.
Yes,
the beta was announced, and they released it the same day. And it
2002 in the Game Developers Conference.
That's right. Yeah. And it wasn't until September 2003 that it got fully released. And then on the day that it got fully released, it was so popular that it immediately broke.
As all good things do, right? When it's too many. That was in the days where that was a genuine thing, though. That was like a completely unexpected. Nowadays they do all these pre-tests and everything else, and then they get really surprised when everyone. And I think there's a bit of that supply and demand thing going on, right?
I think so too. Bit of FOMO with the, you can't get onto this. Look how many people want to get onto this.
Yeah, it's like a console release. Oh, you can't buy one. Oh, we'll go on eBay. Pay 4 times as much.
Hey, with Steam, who needs a console release? That's what I'd say.
We'll have that debate a bit later when we talk about.
Oh, will we? Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's have that conversation because it's an interesting one.
Okay, so I have done more research for this episode, Dan, than I've ever done for an episode of Game
I'm grateful for it.
No problem at all. So it was, as you said, it was a platform for Valve's games. Half-Life 2 is one of the things that really shot it into popularity. 12 million units of Half-Life 2 were sold, and Steam was a requirement.
It was
to play the game.
I remember. I remember it well.
People weren't pleased about that at the time.
I didn't understand it, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get it. I'm like, I want to play this game, but I've got to do what to play this game? I have to have this thing to do this. And that was the world then.
If they had packaged it as, look, we can make improvements and updates to it, but they didn't do that. They just kind of said, look, you need to have Steam to play it. It was an interesting tactic that,
what was beautiful in those days, you were literally sitting, because I was such a massive Half-Life nerd and desperate to play not just Half-Life 2, but when the subsequent episodes came out, you'd literally sit there watching this progress bar tick up ever so slowly, because it was all, you were on like 10 meg broadband or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just, you were sitting there like, oh my God, go and get a cup of tea or have some dinner and come back and see how far it's got. And then when it's done, I'll be able to play Half-Life. It was very exciting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking about pre-Steam days, and online gaming on dial-up is not something I had to ever contend with. Is that something you had tried?
Yeah, right. And
I'm gonna have to do what you did to Dan quite a lot and say, can you explain to the listener that might not have been around what is dial-up?
Dial-up is any internet pre-broadband, to be fair. When you had to wait for a very long time with a very annoying tone, and you had to unplug your phone to plug a modem in to be able to actually play online.
Do you remember trying to call your mates on the phone when they were using the internet?
Yeah.
And you just got that thing that was like screaming.
Yeah, you were basically talking to a fax machine. That's what it felt like. It was horrendous. Yeah. I remember the days of MSN, mate. Where, like
me too. Yeah.
I'm that many years old that I would. It was horrendous.
Yeah,
but
it was.
You still did it.
Well, you love games, so of course you did it.
But there was no chat. There was no. There was no, like you and I having a conversation that didn't exist.
Some people might think that's for the better if you're having a conversation. It depends on who you're having a conversation with, to be honest with you. But so that was 2004 that Half-Life 2 released, made Steam mandatory. CSGO or Counter-Strike Global Offensive was also a big popular one on.
Awesome.
Yeah, but the thing that Steam really sold itself on was, we love people modding our games.
Yeah.
And Counter-Strike, is a mod of Half-Life.
Yeah.
So two of Valve's biggest games are connected through the modding community. Yep. And I think that that's one of the reasons that Steam is so big and so loved by PC gamers, because they're just open to you playing a game how you want to play the game.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a thread that you'll see throughout the whole of the Steam journey, I think. I did want to quiz you. The first 2 games that weren't made by Valve, released on Steam, came out on the same day.
Yeah.
Do you remember what they are?
That were made by Valve?
That weren't made by Valve. The first 2.
I know one of them was Ragdoll Kung Fu.
Ragdoll Kung Fu is one of them.
I genuinely can't remember the other one. I did like you did some research and I can't remember what the other one was. So Ragdoll Kung Fu was the one I remember.
It was a real-time RPG, this polygon awful looking thing called Darwinia.
Oh, that doesn't sound like my sort of thing. I mean, Ragdolls and Kung Fu I can get on with.
Not Darwinism. That's not you. No.
Survival of the fittest, screw that.
But they were the first thing that Steam said, look, we've got this platform, you've got the games, come and plug them in. And they released them day one with Steam Sale.
Wow.
And it birthed what is one of the most popular things on Steam is how heavily discounted the games are.
Yes.
And it got me thinking quite a lot about why so many people choose to use PC gaming when I think PC gaming is becoming even more popular because of the rising price of consoles. But at the time, PC gaming was seen as like the expensive option. That's why I had a console. I didn't want a PC game because I didn't want to pay to have a big old computer rig that I had to build myself and keep the components updated. And I just wanted to buy this thing, take it out of the box, plug it into the TV and play my games.
Simplicity, right?
Yeah. But ever since I started PC gaming and got into Steam, I mean, ignoring my Football Manager 10 odd years, 15 years of Football Manager, I just haven't looked back. And I have on my desk a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox Series X. And every time I look at them, I think, I reckon I could get a bit of money for that. I don't see the point on it sitting in my desk anymore. And I'm genuinely going to sell them, which is a point where I never thought I'd get to because I have backlogs of games on them. But if you ask me the last time I booted them up was January.
And are they the last, other than the Switch you spoke about before, they're the last consoles that you've purchased or bought?
Well, the Xbox, I'm not going to... I have another friend who didn't want the PlayStation 4, so you need to make friends like me who just give their consoles away.
Just friends would be good, to be honest.
But yeah, so the Series X was the last console I bought. That was mid-COVID. I did the FOMO.
Right.
I was on
and
all of those. The
What?
X. That's the X.
Sorry,
the X.
the X.
Yeah. The one that looks like a fridge is on my desk.
Yeah.
But I was doing that thing where I followed all these accounts with the leaks of when they're coming, and I actually ordered it from Amazon Germany. Is where I got mine, and I had to pay imports on it.
It's a common theme getting Xboxes from Germany. That's where I got my 360.
But I'll never do that again, ever. Because Steam.
It's a valid point. I mean, my journey was slightly different because I have always done both. So I've always made sure I've got a rig that's powerful enough to play games in a half decent way. Even now, it's 2 years old now, and 2 years ago, I think it's a 3070 Ti or something that's in there, and it does most things quite well. It plays Outer Worlds 2 when I can't bother to play it. I've installed it from Game Pass. I play it on there. If the Xbox is in use, or if I'm not using the ROG, and like you, I've got a PlayStation 5 sitting next to me up here. I don't switch on very often now with the Portal. I do that. So I've always had it, but I was up until about 18 months ago, I was using it primarily for kind of Game Pass stuff.
Okay.
And hadn't really got into the whole Steam thing. And then it was long before doing this, actually, I can't remember what game it was. I picked up a game on Steam and I started playing on the PC more, and I was like, this is brilliant. Like, it just works. And that was the thing that clicked for me. You're always conscious when you're playing a game on Game Pass, whether it's, that you haven't bought it, that it's there for a limited period of time in most respects. Yeah. And at any minute it could drop off. And all right, look, I know you're essentially buying the license to play the game on Steam, and, you could easily get that removed as well, I guess. But there's something more around ownership and around that connection with that game on Steam that's very different to some... Game Pass just feels a bit like pick it up and throw it away. Yeah. And Steam, you're owning it and you're going, well, that's mine now. And so now I went from literally about 5 or 6 games on Steam 18 months ago to I've got about 60 or 70 games on there now. And I'm like,
well, yeah, I'm something similar. And I wanted to talk about this in a little bit, but I'll talk about it now. Have you heard of Steam Family?
This is where you can share your game catalog with others. I think I haven't used it, but I'm conscious that they do something like that.
Yeah, Steam Family, I think, might be the best thing to impact gaming that no one talks about.
Right.
And so I have a Steam Family, and it's set up by Tim, co-host. Alex is in there, other co-host. Tim's fiance is in there. She's a gamer. Alex's girlfriend is in there. She's a gamer. Dan P is in there. He's part of the Steam family. And what it means is it pulls all of our game libraries together.
Wow.
And the only time I would have any inclination that I was in part of this Steam family is, let's say me and you were both in the Steam family and I said, I want to play Call of Duty 7 and it's in my library and not yours. We can't do that. But it's as if you're all in the same house and you have a physical disc collection and you go, oh, well, that one's mine. I'll play that.
Right.
But let's say Death Stranding, I'm not playing it and you're in the Steam family and you say, well, I've not bought this, but Joey's got a copy, so I'll play it on mine. And I just think that acceptance that gaming is not isolated to a single person, single account is just so player centric.
Yeah.
And completely the opposite of what we've seen. Like all of that stuff around Xbox is always online, and then PlayStation came back with this is how you share games with your friends with PlayStation. And well, actually, the way that you share games now is Steam Family, and you literally
it's the digital equivalent of what we used to do at school, which is lending your game out. You go, well, I'm not playing it at the moment. I'll lend it to my mate. You know, your copy of whatever on the GameCube or your Nintendo, your SNES. Or I lend them the cartridge. I can't play it now because they're playing it. It's the same thing, right?
It is. And as a result, it means I have 2,500 games in my Steam category. I'm never going to play 99% of them.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to, and just looking at it now, if I wanted to play any of the Alien Breed games, because Tim has all 4 of them in his library, I can go, great, I'm going to play that. I will never need to buy a game again if I don't want to.
Yeah.
This library that I have on my Steam account is bigger than the entirety of the PlayStation 2 library.
Yeah.
And I have paid for less than 20% of them.
Which is nuts, right? I mean,
it is nuts.
And I do think there's this big thing about Valve's approach to players and gamers that is so vastly different from the corporate bullshit of the Sonys, Nintendos and Microsofts. And I know I include Nintendo there. I know they're a bit more soft soap about the whole thing, but it's still, you're just a number at the bottom line at the end of the day.
But the other difference is, to Valve, you are a gamer and a player and a user, whereas to the others, you are much more of a wallet.
Yeah.
And I think that extends beyond players and users to developers, because I looked up how much it would cost to put a small indie title on the Xbox store, and I looked up how much it would cost on Steam. Now, if you were to sell that game, say your game's £10, $10, whatever it is, Xbox and Steam both take the same commission cut. They take 30% of that game, which is fair. You're putting it on their store. No one would find it otherwise.
Yeah.
The price to put a small indie title on Xbox, according to the article on Kotaku that I found, was $5,145.
Wow.
How much is that on Steam, do you think?
It's ridiculous. It's not $100 or something, or $50. It's ridiculously low, right?
It's $100. But
$100.
if your game sells $1,000, they give you back.
Yeah.
So it's technically nothing.
Yeah.
It's their 30% commission. And I just think that having your game platform on the same medium that you develop and build the games means that we can have... If you want to be a game developer, you have to put together $100 and an idea, and you can put it on Steam. You can say you're a game developer. Now, that works both ways, because there's a lot of great games on Steam, but there is a lot of trash as well.
Yeah.
There's so much rubbish on there because it's so accessible. Now, you don't have to click that as a player, which is why I'm okay with it. It's also why I have 2,500 games in my account, because a lot of them are bargain bin, awful, come in a mystery key bundle. But the fact that if I wanted to, I could say, I'm going to make gaming views the game, I could spend like £70 and it could be on the storefront with a bit of dedication. And it's another thing, and I've said it a couple of times already, it really makes me think that the guys behind Steam and Valve are gamers, and they do it for a gamer. They understand what you want as a gamer and as a player.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Neal's always been very vocal about the importance of the community and the people that he makes the games for. And I think he's still one of the guys, and he holds a lot of reverence in the gaming community because of that fact. You know, because you'll get, you know, like on the Xbox or the Microsoft side, you've got like people like Major Nelson and people like that who just feel like they were just corporate faces, you know, to something that were trying to appease a gaming community, you know, a mouthpiece. Whereas someone like Gabe is kind of like genuinely, you know, the passion he's got, you see the projects he supports, the things he does. All right, he lives on a yacht, whatever. But, you know, he's always been very vocal about that community and supportive of it. And you can see that in how that comes through, and talking about how the games, the games themselves, and being a small developer and, you know, spending a couple of £100 to get a game on, you know, and $100 that being the fee. You then see, in a number of occasions, you can see those games that have just done so well. You know, we talked about Megabonk, right? It's done so well. Yeah. You can see a year from now, 2 years from now, max, that'll be on Game Pass. That'll be on, and it will have been picked up because it's created that furore and that you know, gamers have kind of gone to it and clung to it, and you know, the Microsofts and Sonys as well. We want a bit of that now. You know, and we can probably try and charge for that, and we can probably, you know, we'll make a buck off it. But that seems to be the attitude, as opposed to, let's just let people do games, because that feels like the right thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think so we've been incredibly positive about Steam, and rightly so. I think Steam are the good guys. I genuinely believe Steam are the good guys. They seem to stand up for their users. Everything they seem to touch turns to gold dust, unless you talk about their hardware in the early stages.
Yes.
I'm not including the Steam Deck in this. I'm not even really including the HTC Vive, which they partnered with HTC to make. But before then, in 2013, they announced the original entrance into the console market.
Yeah.
And they did this with Steam Big Picture.
Yes.
And the idea is that you have a button on your Steam where you can make it so you could be, instead of sitting at a desk quite close to your computer, you could do it and have it on your TV, and you can stream it to your TV, and it would look and feel like a console because you can control the whole thing with your controller. The problem with this was Steam games aren't made for controller. They're made for mouse and keyboard. Now, Steam aren't stupid, and they made the Steam controller.
They did.
Have you ever used the Steam controller, Dan?
I have not, but I think it's very much the Marmite of gaming.
Okay.
It is, but with a very big slant on that. I think if you gave it to 100 people, 90% of people would hate it, and 10% of it would love it and never go back. And it's kind of the rhetoric I hear, certainly with the recent announcements, looking back on a lot of videos, and people have done a lot of nostalgia around the original Steam controller, and the people who love it fucking love it, and you know, claim that it's the best way to control any kind of game ever. But then there are those, and I don't think I'd get on with it, in all honesty.
I didn't get on with it. I think it's really, I've used it once for about 10 minutes before my brain can't handle this. So it's laid out quite similarly to a Xbox or a PlayStation controller. You've got 2 points where your thumbs are, you've got the buttons either side of that. But the difference is the 2 points where your thumbs are, one's got the shape of a D-pad on it, but both of them are trackpads. Yeah. And the idea was that you could use them instead of using a mouse. But what comes with trackpads is laptops. Yes. And what don't you play competitive games with? A trackpad on a laptop. Yeah. So while the idea was there, the execution unfortunately wasn't. And I'm sure there are games where it's excellent for something like Age of Empires, that RTS. I imagine it would be really good with that. I can't even remember what I played with it, but it wasn't a good experience. Right. So with the Steam controller, with Big Picture mode, they released the original Steam machine. Yes. And this was 2015. What did you think of the Steam machine when it first came about?
Do you know what? It was, for me, it was instantly forgettable. Hence the reason I don't really... I know it was done in conjunction with another company, wasn't it? It was
Alienware.
Alienware. Yeah, so I know that they both kind of chipped in for it. And it was supposed to be for the time, a relatively high-powered sit under your TV device that just kind of collapsed under its own weight, I think, is fair to say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So Xbox and PlayStation, I can't remember. It would have been the 1 and the 4. Xbox One and the PS4, I think, at that time.
Okay. What
Both
is this,
sold 2015.
2015? Yeah.
So both of them, when they were announced and launch day, sold 1 million units plus in 24 hours.
Yeah.
The original Steam machine sold less than 500,000 units in 6 months. And they canned it. They canned it really quickly for Valve because it just was not worth doing. Rightly so. And we'll get on to why rightly so when we talk about the new Steam machine.
Yes.
Or, as I'm affectionately going to call it and have heard it called and really enjoyed having it called, the Gabe Cube.
The Gabe Cube, yes.
Which I really liked.
Yes.
But the year later, so 2016, Steam worked with HTC for the Vive, and they made the Vive, which was...
I don't even remember the Vive.
Don't you? So the Vive was like the biggest VR headset you have ever seen.
Oh, shit. Yes, I do. Sorry, yeah. Yes.
Massive. The difference is this came with 2 small boxes that you were meant to put up in your room.
Yes.
And it didn't just work on what was on your face. It created a 3D scan of the environment around you.
I do remember it, yeah.
The only person I know to have ever had one of these is Tim.
Oh, did he?
He had one. So Tim
Why is
lived
he not
in
here?
this. Well, I mean, I've been asking that question the whole time. Why am I here instead of him? Tim lived in this tiny studio flat in Weston-super-Mare, bang in the centre of Weston. You go outside of his door, and there was the centre.
Right.
It was next to a really rough pub, and I visited it 3 times in the whole time he was there. This was locked down, what have you. I couldn't. It wasn't because I'm a terrible brother. That's why I don't visit him now. But I went to Tim's, and there was like these boxes in the corners. I was like, Tim, what the hell have you got set up here? He's like, oh, it's the VR. Like, that's so normal. It's just the VR.
You've not got one?
And the controllers for it were like something out of the future.
Yeah.
It was like 2 Wii nunchuck things, but they had these circle bits on. But the thing that these did was speak to the boxes.
Yeah.
And it would tell you when your arms were extended. It would tell you what angle your arms was at. And it was something that other VR could not handle at the time. I think they very much can now.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what, sorry, just looking at this.
Yeah.
Right, and this is the Meta Quest 3's,
right.
It's basically a shrunk down version of that, and it's got all the same sensors. So when your hand is not, your fingers sense, it senses when your thumb's near it. It's all very clever. Magic.
But I think it's all built off of the idea of the Vive.
Totally.
It's and whilst I think the numbers weren't enormous for the Vive, I think they sold I think it was 125,000 units.
Right.
For VR, that was quite big.
It is big, yeah.
But they also released a big picture mode specifically for VR. I learnt this during my research because I am not a VR person. It makes me feel quite sick. But the cool thing that Steam did, once again for the players, was when you don't have a Vive, well, that's okay. Just connect any headset to our
which I've done
for VR.
with that, and it's fucking brilliant.
Good,
genuinely brilliant. I mean, it's another thing that Steam have done, or Valve have done really, really well.
Yeah,
they've created something that anyone can use, irrespective of that you're not locked into an infrastructure. You're basically here you go, you can use that. It's fine. And I did connect to my PC. They're using Steam Link. Done.
It's the story of Valve, isn't it? Just ease.
Totally. The irony being, I spent fucking 20 quid on a bit of software to allow me to do it before I realised Steam Link just works.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And then I was kicking myself going, fuck. But now I can work in VR if I want to.
Which you do. God, Microsoft Teams, like right there. Get in there.
I've done it. It's fucking I've been editing in it while I was chatting to Dan on WhatsApp in VR.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a gimmick at best because you would not want to do that. It's so unwieldy, but you can do it.
Well, and you have done it. That's the important
I haven't played Baldur's Gate with you on VR.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, though, to be fair.
That was pretty cool.
And that was kind of the last thing that Steam did until 2022, February 2022, and they went, People don't just want to sit at big computers. The Switch has done all right. Maybe we'll release a handheld console. And the Steam Deck. I don't have the sale numbers for the Steam Deck. I'm not going to go into them. I'm going to let Dan P research
We
that.
will let Dan do it. But it has sold up to date in the multi-millions. Yeah. It's been, look, it's not done Switch numbers, but it's so far as I think Steam are concerned and the PC community concerned, an unequivocal success. I think it's fair.
Absolutely. And I think the amazing thing that it did was bring in, at a really affordable price range, people to the PC market.
Completely.
The other thing I think is mega impressive with all of this stuff that Steam do, I've never seen an advert for Steam anywhere.
They don't.
Never.
They don't advertise outside of Steam. They don't sell outside of Steam hardware, other than kind of the HTC, I think, sold outside of it. But when you're doing a partnership, you're restricted. But any of their own stuff, no. Steam Deck.
They don't need to. They don't need to. No. I did find out Australia. I don't know what they did to annoy Steam, but guess when they got the Steam Deck released to them?
Oh God, it's got to be a couple of years later then, isn't it?
Well, February 2022 was the original Steam Deck. November 2024.
Wow. I mean, maybe it just took that long for the boats to get across the water.
Maybe. Yeah, they haven't worked out these things called aeroplanes. It's
What was interesting about the Steam Deck, though, and we won't go into, like you said, we're not going to touch on the hardware and what it's done because Danny P's best place to do that, being an owner of one. But what it did do, interestingly, in the background, so PC market share, Windows in particular market share. So when the Steam Deck was released, the share of the market for PC, for PC owners, but essentially for OS, Linux, and this excludes, so just to be clear, this excludes any businesses that run this kind of stuff. We're talking about purely about the PC gaming community, was sat at around 1% pre-Steam Deck.
Okay.
Hovered just above, just below, depending on the time of year. In October of this year, 25, Linux surpassed the 3% threshold as an operating system. And in doing so, when that happened, so it's at 3.05, I think, as of October, the shares, so the Windows shares dropped 0.75 percentage points because of that. So, and they believe that the primary driver of that is because Steam Deck runs on SteamOS. Which is a Linux variant, right? And a lot of this stuff is built on, Linux, whether it's Ubuntu or, and I think they've proved through a lot of this stuff, and we will talk about how this affects the new hardware coming out as well, in terms of some of the very clever things they've been able to do to get certain things to run on, on Steam, or for Steam to run on certain devices as well. So yeah, I love Steam on I've played more Steam games on the ROG Ally X, ironically, it being an Xbox machine, than I have Game Pass. Far more.
Really? Wow.
Far more. Yeah, almost everything except for the Outer Worlds 2 and Pacific Drive was all Steam.
Wow.
I've talked about today. It just, and it's funny when you were talking about big picture mode, because obviously it launches. I mean, it didn't originally. You have to set Steam to launch into, which is a bit weird. But now it just launches into big picture mode, when I start up. And to the point where they got to a point during the first few weeks of owning it, the point of frustration with the patching and the updates and everything got to the point where I started watching videos on YouTube about how to rebuild the thing as a Steam Deck and just go, I might just rebuild it. I might just rebuild it with Linux and just rebuild the whole thing. Because I had a bit of a win today, sidebar. So ever since I've owned the thing, it's had a sticky X button, which makes games like Absalom and Hades a nightmare because you are hammering the X button. This is your attack button and you are hammering it. So every so often I'm in a boss fight or something and the button is getting stuck and I can't, you're literally hammering it to try and release it. So I did the bravest thing I think I've ever done. I was a brave little boy today and I opened it.
Wow.
I took it apart and I followed a guide on how to check the buttons. It was a guide on how to replace them. But I thought, I wonder if there's something it's not seated properly, or so I took it all apart. I reseated it and I fixed it. It's all fixed.
You're a brave man.
Sidebar over. Sorry.
Wow,
but yeah, so I did that. Look, while we were talking about numbers, So I just really want to touch quickly on just going back to SteamOS and the beast that it is, right? And when I talk numbers, it is quite insane. So monthly active users, so people that are registered as being active on this per month, averages at 132 million active users. Right? That's a month.
That's bigger than
Daily,
some countries.
Yeah,
that's,
right. Daily, 69 million daily active users, right? So it does say, to put it in perspective, the user base is comparable to the populations of major global countries logging in and playing. I mean, that is just...
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
I can't get my head around it. Because I think, for me, it's quite a personal experience. Steam, downloading my game, playing my little game and your game. But there's 139 million other people playing on this thing. Concurrent players across the platform has topped out at 41.6 million at any given time, which again is quite insane. It's expanded this is from January 23 so within 2 years, from 33.3 million up to 39.34 million. The numbers just it is quite staggering. The Steam library in the US,
Okay,
200, but just shy of 240,000 games. Right, so you say there's a lot of cruft on there. There's a lot of craft on there. Right?
Did you ever hear about the competition that Steam ran one time, and I can't remember what year it was, but first prize in that was every single Steam game that will ever be released is free to you.
That's madness. I mean, given that in 2024 alone, they added 18,626 games in 1 year. And we've said this year's been a good year for games. It might be even worse this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's quite phenomenal. I mean, let's just talk quickly about the most played games on here. So you spoke about Counter-Strike earlier. So Counter-Strike 2, so concurrent player count, this is 1.17 million players. Dota 2 is 688,331 players. I'm not looking at live stats, by the way. This is an average. Battlefield 6, 709,000 players. And
that's amazing. Did Battlefield 6 come out this year? Wow.
Yes, the most recent. Battlefield 6 or 7? Which is the most recent?
6 is the most recent, I think.
Black Ops is 7,
Yeah.
And then PUBG Battlegrounds is just shy of 250,000 players.
Wow.
But that does hold the all-time peak record for concurrent players at a massive 3.26 million concurrent players. Million.
So I remember my friend telling me about PUBG when it first came out, which in itself is a mod.
Yeah.
You know, PUBG is a mod of Armour.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing.
They're using lots of news clips.
They do. What was the other one? The zombie based one? Dead. I don't. It'll come to me.
I can't remember the guy's name.
But yeah, there's another really big one that's just a mod of Armour, but it's based in a zombie world that was really popular. But I remember the hype around PUBG, and it was the first real battle royale shooter that got really popular. And I got it on the Xbox, and I was terrible at the game.
Yeah.
I must have played hundreds of rounds, and I won one. But the feeling you got when you won that one was just amazing. And all it did, the only thing that happened was it flashed up and said, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And that is it. But I remember texting my mate, like, just got my first chicken dinner. And he's like, cool, game's been out for 6 months now.
How shit to you?
But if you look at it now, it's free to play.
Yeah.
It gets nowhere near the numbers it did when it first came out and that popularity. And I feel like this is one of the downsides of Steam. the popularity, you've really got to catch like the
You have
crest
to be
of the
on that.
wave.
Yeah, totally.
Otherwise, you miss the boat completely.
Yeah, totally. Because it's the churn and the turnaround is so rapid on those things, and But I think that's what gamers love, right? They love the ability to flip and switch and do different things. And sometimes you'll be in the mood for something. And I never thought I'd be sitting there playing megabonk, a week after it released or whatever. And I'm like, I'm fucking loving it. I'm not saying I'm part of that crest, but I think you're right. I think you do sense something, and you're like, oh, just give it a go. And that's the beauty of it. All right, it's not. Game Pass in some respects, it sits behind that curve because, like I said, they're often seeing things that have happened a year before and going, oh, we should go and do that. Yeah. And then you kind of play it and you go, meh, but you can take it or leave it at that point.
Well, I also think that there's the big difference I find between Game Pass and Steam. Not so much on Game Pass for PC, which I still think is a good deal. Like £13 for that per month.
You're not paying about 60 quid a month now, though.
They did. Have I told you? They tried to charge me £45 a month for PC for Game Pass, and I messaged them like, it's £22 if I have everything, and it's the normal top tip.
Yeah.
I'll get into that off the pod, Dan. But so, between the console and the PC, if I want to play something and something takes my fancy and it pops up and says, we think you'd like this game, and I think, oh, actually, I would like that game, I can buy it. And then on the same thing I'm using, I can just stick a movie on while it downloads. Yeah. And I feel like with console, you can't do that. You basically do the thing that you said you did however many years ago when Half-Life 2 came out, and you watch the progress bar tick up and you wait for the game to come. And I think it's a real thing about 2025 and the way we are and the TikTok brain and things like that. But like, I have to be doing something all the time.
Yeah.
And that something can't be sitting waiting for a game to install.
Just get yourself a ROG.
Yeah.
Or a Steam Deck. Get a Steam Deck.
Get a Steam Deck so I can play the games that I should be playing on my PC on the Steam Deck.
In fairness, in slightly in defence, you kind of can do that on a console, right? I can download a game and watch Netflix while it's downloading. I can do both of those things. And, wherever you are, there's going to be a bandwidth issue, whatever you're doing. So, I guess, it depends on what you so, I get what you mean. If you're static in a room and you're just kind of sitting there, you can go, I just do that while I do that. I get you. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's much in it, but let's just quickly look at why Gabe Newell owns a yacht. That'd be because Steam don't release their finances, all right? The financial statements, they don't have to. They're not obliged to. They don't have shareholders or anything like that. So it's quite interesting just to look at some of the potential earnings, shall we say, that they have. So bearing in mind, monthly active users, we said, is about 132 million. Peak concurrent players is about 41.6 million. Gross game sales in 2024, $10.9 billion.
Wow.
That's total sales revenue. That's before Valve take their cut.
Yeah.
That gives them an estimated market share on PC. And this, we will get into this because it's quite a funny quote from the guys at Amazon. But the estimated market share was between 70 and 75% of the PC digital distribution market. That is massive. 3/4 of digital distribution is done through Steam.
I mean, we haven't even talked about why Steam was so different to its competitors. Because you never needed a disc.
Yeah, you never needed anything. It was
didn't need anything.
It was there. Amazon recently changed or closed their distribution platform really, and kind of moved over to this Luna model, which is their cloud streaming model. Now, when they did this, there was some talk from one of the guys who was previously employed by them to head up that division, their digital distribution platform, who was pretty much quoted, I'm not going to say verbatim because I haven't got the quote here, but basically said they'd spent the last 10 years trying to build a Steam competitor and nobody noticed. And I think that's kind of telling that they'd kind of gone, sorry, you're trying to do what? Oh, yeah. What's Steam? And when you're sitting there going, yeah, but they own 75% of the market. And what I love about that is Amazon I don't think people really understand the scale of Amazon and what they do. And how they do it, right? Logistically, what they've built is phenomenal, right? Yeah. They're a piece of shit company, in all fairness, not a sponsor, but what they've done is amazing, right? And it's just huge. And beyond some of the comprehension of human understanding in terms of what Amazon have done. People like that with that pockets that deep cannot build something that can compete with something like Valve. And there is a very specific reason for that. And it goes back to what you were saying about the care and diligence they have over the gaming community and what it means to them. Gross game sales, 10.9 billion, which is a lot before Valve's cut. And then estimated annual revenue of their cut is $5 billion. That is why Gabe Newell owns a yacht.
We'd all own a yacht if we had $5 billion.
We'd all own a yacht. What was interesting, and a number I'd just seen while I was trawling, was that of the actual third-party sales market, though, that equates that the number of we said it's kind of between 70 to 75% of the digital market share. It's actually 97% of third-party sales. And the only other 3%, I think, is it's Epic is the other 3%.
Wow.
So it was mad, right? That's why they've got such a significant foothold. So look, we have been going for a very long time, and I apologise to the listeners, but it's been a fascinating conversation. I do just want to wrap up very quickly by talking about the latest announcements from Steam, which I think is a bit of a game changer. And I don't want to go too deep into it, but we had 3 announcements. We had the Steam Machine, the Steam Controller, and the Steam Frame. And I think this Steam Machine was previously the Fremont, and the Frame would have been called the Deckard in pre-production. Yeah. Thoughts?
Very cool. Very, very cool. I think what it will depend on is the pricing.
Yes.
So I said it earlier, I think that loads of console games are coming to PC because the roles are reversed, and it seems to be that PC is now the more affordable option, not only because of the hardware, but because of the price of games.
Yeah.
I think if they do a similar model, so they've said there's a 512 gigabyte size for the Steam Machine and a 2 terabyte.
Yeah.
If they open that 512, and I saw one big air quotes here, market expert saying that he thinks it'd be about $400.
Yes.
That is a game changer. Like, that is unbelievable. Totally. You won't have this enormous, ugly box under your TV. I loved the way they displayed the size. It's the size of less than a banana.
Yeah.
And just like to have that just near the TV, this tiny little cube that is 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck, which I've never seen a Steam Deck running a game and really struggling with it. Like, there will be some.
I think there's a couple of more modern day kind of last couple of years. I think things like Indiana Jones, things like that, it kind of struggles a bit with. But yeah, anything 2 years old and beyond is, I think, fine.
But then 6 times that, you're kind of future-proofing a little bit, aren't you? It's
yeah. I mean, Moore's laws would dictate that you know things are moving on. The thing that Dan and I always struggle with is fidelity is not really getting any better. I mean, nothing looks much prettier than it. You talked in your Death Stranding episode about how beautiful that game was, and that's 2019.
Yeah.
Right. We're now 6 years further on, and right, you've got things like Ghost of Yotei and things like that. They're very pretty. Are they a massive leap forward? No, dude. Like, they're just not. So I think you're right. For $400 or even 500 and throw in a Steam controller, mate, that's all crazy. Day long, right? I mean, for that you're getting potentially. I mean, this is what they're targeting. 40K, 60 frames a second, comparable to what other people have said is probably PS5 adjacent performance. Mm-hmm. Right, with so that's with the AMD's FSR, obviously the AI upscaling AI again. So you're getting a semi-custom AMD Zen 4 6-core 12-thread chip.
Yeah,
you're getting the AMD RDNA 3 GPU, so custom GPU with 8 gigs of VRAM, which seems quite small.
It does seem quite low. I run 8 gigs of VRAM on mine, and I think my graphics card's probably due an upgrade.
Yeah.
But I don't. I still run most games at pretty high settings.
Yeah,
I think 8 gig is serviceable.
I think it will do the job. I just wonder how, because it's not upgradable. Obviously, I just wonder how. I'm surprised they didn't go for an SoC, but I think they made the right choice, to be honest.
But also the 16 gig of DDR5 RAM
upgradable.
is massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
DDR5 is ridiculous. I think 16 is a good level for most things, most games.
I've got 32 gig running in mine, and it flies at most things. It struggles with some of the rendering on DaVinci and stuff. But
I have 64 gig in mine, but it's DDR4.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty comparable to my friend's 16 of DDR5.
Yeah.
Which is just
Horses for
mind
courses,
blowing.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And when you have a machine that's dedicated to it, like mine is dealing with everything else that goes on in the background, something that's dedicated to it, you're going to have such a good experience on this thing.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fantastic. As you said, 2 storage options, 2 SKUs. You've got the 512 gig or the 2 terabyte. You know, again, expandable. It comes in. Not 180 or 280 or whatever it is. It comes in the smaller one, doesn't it? So, but it's upgradable to whatever you want. To be honest.
Yeah.
Running on SteamOS. This is where the special sauce comes in. This is where the optimization stuff. This is their Proton for Windows compatibility that we talked about earlier, this Linux to Windows piece that they've just done such a stellar job on creating. So yeah, and again, as you said, small, cube-shaped, looks beautiful. I'm surprised at the number of USB 2 ports in the thing. Mainly because I've moved over to a lot into USB-C or Thunderbolt, but I guess...
I think people will still have USB 2 controllers and peripherals and things like that, and that's probably why it has it. I really like that one of their selling points was it's got an LED light on the front.
Yeah, I love that.
Just an LED light.
Just the light that kind of can show upload progress or download. I think that's beautiful. I really enjoyed that, and it just sits there.
Once again, they said if you don't want it, just turn it off.
I think I do. I'm with you. I genuinely think this is a game changer. I genuinely think this will plug a gap in the market that their previous attempt didn't, but wasn't targeting to. And I think it's that gap between console players who are really interested in getting into the PC market. This is a step through because it is essentially still a PC. You can still stick it under your TV, you still run it. You know, you can use it for work. You can do what you want with it. Really, you don't have to play games on it. But the fact that it's led with the SteamOS, you know, it's a fast little machine that can do all the things you probably need it to do. I'm half kind of thinking I'm going to stick DaVinci on it and try and do video editing on it, to be honest, and see how it performs, just out of interest. But yeah, I think it will bridge that gap. I think it will, you know, I don't know how many console players would switch to it, but I think it's a really good exercise and experience in what they've done. They've learned lessons from what happened previously with the Steam machine and with Alienware. They've learned a shit ton from the Steam Deck and how they've propositioned this and what they're going to do. And I think they get that price point right. I think this is all day long, right? Because we are still 2 years, a year and change, whatever it is, away from having a new Xbox, a new PlayStation. So to tip up to the market and play with that price point over the next couple of years before that lands, and they've already said that's going to be expensive, right? Yeah. Microsoft stated now that it's going to be a fucking expensive machine.
Well, this is my thing. The rumor for Microsoft for Xbox is $1,200 for their next machine, which, you know, is unaffordable for a huge amount of people, myself included. If you stick this tiny little box and say you can have the catalogue of games that you have on your computer now on it, and you can play them, plus everything new that comes, and it is likely going to be, you can run Game Pass on it. So you get the Microsoft library anyway.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer. So I actually think when people look at it and they see the price of next-gen consoles, I think it probably will take a few people off there. Well, a lot of people from the
it's going to have to, right, for that price point. I mean, that's because a $1,200 console is insane, right? But they have already stated it's essentially going to be a PC in a box with a different operating system. And I think the ROG and those sort of things are the testing ground for that. I think they're going how are people reacting to that, and that in itself, actually, the ROG they announced today, Asus has exceeded their sales expectations. So
really?
You know, I think there is, but you're right, there is that space, but it's that price point that's going to put people off.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a PC in a box, is what Microsoft is saying.
Yeah,
this is
totally.
It's also quite literally a PC in a box.
PC in a box.
So
yeah, be the same thing. There'll be some customizable elements and stuff. Right. Yeah. Steam controller. What do you reckon?
I haven't read as much into it as I did the previous Steam controller. It looks like the best bits of the old Steam controller with a actual thumbstick.
It reminded me of the Steam Deck without a screen. It's like they just like taking the streets, just stuck the two bits together.
But it's the opposite of your ROG, isn't it? That's an Xbox controller with a screen. So,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, totally.
And the Steam Deck is really comfortable to hold.
Yes.
It's really, really comfortable. So if they nail that as a controller, you know, it might be something to invest in, even if you don't have.
It's got some clever wizardry in it that they've taken off of things like the HTC and stuff. So where they've got the sensors in the handles, so that when for those who do use the gyroscopic, when you're kind of twisting so you can essentially release your fingers from it and it'll recognize you've released them so that you can continue turning without having to break your arms or dislocate your shoulder, which is quite interesting. And what I really loved about it is it's got its own wireless connector to stop any kind of Bluetooth interference or anything. That's also the charging puck. And I really love
cool.
it's just such a clever little piece of design. And I love those kind of when companies do that.
Yeah.
And lastly, we had what would have been in pre-development the Decard. That's the Steam Frame VR headset.
I mean, they did the last one well. Once again, VR is not my thing. I haven't really gone into this one too much, but I think if they're building upon what they did with the Vive, you're onto a winner already. And I feel like what Valve do is they seem to really think about the things before they do it. Like, I hadn't heard anything about a Steam machine. They kept it very quiet. And then all at once, you have these three things come out the gates and people went bonkers for it. And there's a reason that people go bonkers for it, which they didn't do at all with the previous Steam machine, Steam controller, and the Vive. So
no, it was very, low-key kind of.
They'll sell gangbusters. Definitely.
I genuinely hope so. I mean, the frame was really, even as the owner of what's probably a really good VR headset right now in terms of what it's used for. This is very similar in nature. It's a wireless streaming first device, so it has a built-in PC, a standalone PC, so it runs off Snapdragon, so it's a mobile processor essentially. It will do very similar to what the MetaQuest does, but then it's got a bespoke connector. So if you have got a Steam machine or a PC, you can just plug this in and it will just work as off the power of your PC to run whatever you're playing, Half-Life Alyx, whatever. And even if you are shit with VR, fucking play Half-Life Alyx. It's one of the best games ever, genuinely.
I've heard this.
It is so, so good. And I haven't finished it yet and I really do need to.
You hit the nail on the head, though. You hit the nail on the head there. It just works. And that's what you want. That's what we want. We don't want things to need 100 patches to it. You don't want a Football Manager 26 with the way its life is going. You just want to plug it in and it works. And that's what Valve are good at.
I totally agree. And I think that is what they do beautifully. Look, I am very sorry for keeping you for so long tonight, Joe. I never do this. Like, we never just have a chat about stuff. He wants to get to bed. He's got to go to London or something the next day. I'm like, no, we'll go all night. It's fine.
He leaves the house. That's what it is, mate.
That's exactly what it is. Look, I didn't have a wrap-up planned. I genuinely think Steam is a gift to PC gamers everywhere, and hopefully now, the future of where we go in terms of gaming in a setting that isn't stuck in front of a screen with a big beast of a PC running quite noisily as mine does right next to me. Yeah, right. So to have that underneath your TV, and they've done some very clever trickery with that. So hopefully this is part of the future of gaming. And Steam are a big part of that, and will be continued to do so. Either in a kind of more console-like format, as opposed to what they do now on, and do for those guys what Steam's done for PC, which is been amazing. To be honest, I love Steam.
Yeah, I do too. Big thumbs up for Steam.
Big thumbs up. Right, all that's left for me to say is I'm so grateful, Joey. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I would not have been able to do this without you. Dan will be just as grateful for you joining us and co-hosting. I welcome you back at any time to continue this conversation and or other, and we will do that. In the meantime, please do like or subscribe to the channel if you get the chance. And I think that's it. Anything else from you, sir?
No. Go back and listen to all of Gaming Views again, because it's well worth it.
And GCP, if you've got time. There's so much of it. The catalogue's huge. But
yeah. Thanks for having me, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, buddy. All right. We will catch you next time on Gaming Views. Ta-ta for now.